For a good chunk of the last decade, I was kind of the guy who's like, hey, how can I keep everything off of the cloud and keep all the data to myself? I don't want Zuckerberg knowing this about me. I don't want Google knowing this about me. Like, how can I keep everything on my own hard drive and keep as little information about me on the cloud? And with kind of this advent of AI, I feel like that's been softened because it's actually, if they have this information, it makes all this stuff so much easier. But I think there are a ton of security implications to that and societal implications to that, especially, I mean, this feels like 100 years ago now, but when thinking about the Cambridge Analytica stuff, when thinking about the way that with data, elections can be steered and society can be steered. And I think like all that is still applicable, even though I don't hear as many people talking about it these days. And so, yeah, everything else that I'll say is with that pretense of, hey, data security and data sovereignty is quite important. But that being said, man, if you can figure out ways to have these tools interface with your data in a helpful way, there's some super cool stuff that can happen with that. I've been exploring the possibility of having all my emails and all my text messages and even my calls be put into a vector database so that if I had an AI agent and I wanted to say, hey, who in the last month have I talked with about good coffee? Then it can be like, hey, you were on this call with Daniel, and also you had this email and also this WhatsApp message. And that feels relatively simple. Really good semantic search is not a big deal. But if I wanted to then say, cool, I'm actually putting together this meeting of coffee nerds. Can you email an invite to each of them and also double check to make sure that they haven't told me that there's something that they're busy with that day? Figure out what day would be the best. That's a possibility, and it can just go and do it. Where there's a few parts of it where it's not quite there, but it's pretty close, and it's going to get closer and closer as time goes on. And so I think data management is kingdom stewardship, if in certain contexts. For kingdom-focused people and organizations to be able to steward their data well has potentially quite significant kingdom implications, especially when we think about applying these tools to it properly. And so, yeah, I think there is, for people and organizations that can get their data set up in really good and solid ways, I think the sky is becoming the limit of what the applications of that can be. But that is a long journey to be able to do that well. It's not a simple thing. And when you bring the data sovereignty, privacy stuff into it, it gets even more complicated. So, yeah.
I made this podcast because I want to be the person at the city gate to talk to every person coming in and out, doing great things with AI, and find out what and why, and then share the learnings with everyone else. It would mean a lot if you could share the episode with someone that you think would like it. And if you know someone who would be a great person for me to talk to, let me know. Please reach out to me at Daniel Maneri on LinkedIn, or shoot an email to daniel@maneri.house, which is Daniel@MANARY.HAUS. Thanks for listening.